Dear students, today's my class is medication administration. Roots and medication administration. What is this process? How you do it? What is the different? Comparisons between the oral and IV and other routes. So how much you have to take the volume. These all things are very important, and where you have to, inject in the IV or intramuscular. So this is myself, Dr. Ghulam Ahmed, Associate Professor of Pharmacology. A medication is a substance administered for the diagnosis, cure, treatment or relief of a symptom or for prevention of a disease. This is the medication. Pharmacology is the study of the effect of the drugs on living organisms. So medication is the drug which is given for the prophylactic or diagnostic or therapeutic use. And the written direction for the preparation and administration of a drug is called the prescription. And drugs can be administered for these purposes that I have already told: diagnostic, prophylactic and therapeutic purposes. Diagnostic to identify the disease, and prophylactic is to prevent the disease, like heparin to prevent the thrombosis, and antibiotics to prevent the infection. Therapeutic purpose to cure the disease. So use of drugs, prevention, diagnosis, suppression, or which are used for prophylaxis to prevent the disease, that is vaccination, fluoride prevents tooth decay, diagnosis, establishing the patient's disease or problems, that is radio contrast dye, tuberculosis, Mantoux test we do for the diagnostic, tuberculosis, suppresses the signs and symptoms and prevents the disease process from progressing, that is anti-cancer, antiviral drugs. Now treatment: alleviate the symptoms for prevention with chronic disease, that is the anti-asthmatic drugs. Cure: complete eradication of the disease, that is antibiotics and antihelminths. Enhancement aspects of the health that achieve the best state of the health, that is vitamins and minerals. So for that purpose we have to go with the long list. Legal aspects of the medication: preparation, dispensing and administration of the medication are all covered by laws in every country. There is a law for that. Dangerous Drug Act is 1930, and the Narcotics Drugs and the Psychotropic Substance Act 1985. It is an act that governs the procurement and use of some drugs, especially the narcotics, that is the morphine, pethidine, cocaine, etc. These drugs are prescription only drugs, hence cannot be brought or administered without prescription. So dangerous drugs are always kept under lock and key in the dangerous, drug cupboard under the care of the trusted senior nurses, because it can be used for the, suicidal ideation. It is worth knowing that nurses are responsible for their own actions regardless of the presence of the written order. If a nurse gives an overdose of a drug because it is written by a doctor, the error is accounted to the nurse and not the doctor. The nurse should bear in mind that all substances are poisonous. There is none that is not a poison. The right dose differentiates a poison from a remedy. So you should see, if you take a small dose of the poison, is a good drug. If you take a large amount of a drug, it's a poison. So it is. The drugs can have as much as 4 different names as follows. You have to mention it: chemical name, atypical organic name. This precisely describes the constituents of the drug. That we have paracetamol and 4-hydroxyphenyl estamide, or the paracetamol is the chemical name. And then we have generic name. It is given by the manufacturer who first develops the drug. It is given before the drug becomes official. It is the name by which the drugs will be known throughout the world, no matter how many companies manufacture it. The name is usually agreed upon by the WHO. Often the generic name is derived from the chemical name, that is the acetaminophen. Official name: United States adopted name, that is USAN, USAN, or Japanese accepted name, JAN. It will also apply for international non-proprietary name, that's called INN, through the World Health Organization. Now, classification of medication: we have different classification. Medication may be classified according to the body system that the medicine is targeted to, interacts with, that is cardiovascular medication, nervous system medication, etc. Therapeutic use of the medicine, that is the antihypertensive, neuroleptics. So you have to remember these words. The disease the medicine is used for, that is the anti-cancer drugs, anti-malarial drugs. So you have to know about these drugs. And the action of the medication can also be used to classify it, that is the beta-adrenergic blocker. The overall effect of the medication on the body can also be a criteria for its classification, that is the sedatives and anxiety drugs. So storage of the medication is very important. Medications are dispensed by the pharmacy to nursing units. Once delivered, proper storage becomes the responsibility of the nurse. All medication must be stored in cool, dry place, usually in cabinets, medicines carts or fridges. So once you make the stock solution and you have to use it again and again, like adrenaline, you cannot put it in the room temperature. So you have to remember this because there is adrenochrome, that is oxidation occurs. So all medication must be stored in, I will say, in a cool, dry place, usually in cabinets, medicines, carts or fridges. So storage of medication in less advanced countries, that is cupboards are usually used for drug storage. Cupboard 1, used for the drugs for the external use only, that is the calamine, lotion, Dettol, methylated spirit, etc. These drugs are contained in distinctive bottles, usually ridges with deep colors, dark green, blue, brown, with red label marked poison and for external use only. So these are the cupboard 1. We can see cupboard 2 contains drugs for internal use only, that is the tablets, suspensions, mixtures and all drugs must be labeled. Cupboard 3 contains the dangerous drugs, drugs of the addiction, that is the morphine and pethidine, etc. All drugs should be kept away from the direct sunlight and at temperatures suggested by the manufacturer. So another cupboard called the emergency cupboards may be stationed at or near the nurse's bay or easy access. This cupboard contains drugs for emergency situations, that is the aminophylline for asthma, hydralazine for severe hypertension, oxidation for maternal bleeding, intravenous infusion for rehydration, etc. So principles of the medication administration. Principles include 3 checks and 10 rights, you should know. 3 checks means check when obtaining the container of the medicine. This is very important. Check when removing the medicine from the container. Number 3, check when replacing the container. So these 3 checks are very important. Now rights of medication, we have 10 rights. Medication errors can be determined to patients. To prevent these errors, these guidelines or the rights are used in the drug administration. Right patient. Correct identification of the client cannot be overemphasized. So we have to find the patient to whom we have to use the drug. This can be done by asking the client to mention her full name, what is her name, which should be compared with that on the identification bracelet or the patient's folder and medication treatment chart for confirmation. So we have to confirm it, right patient. Then we have beware same and similar first and the surname to prevent the error of administering one person's medication to another and vice versa. So we have to cross-check it. Right medication, before administering any medicine, compare name on medication chart, medication order with that on the medication at least 3 times, checking medication label, then removing it from storage units. Compare medication label with that on treatment chart and medication label and name on treatment chart with patient's name. That is, you have to have a tag to which this patient is there, to whom we have to give this drug. And right time, it is time dependent. So therapy is time dependent. On which date? Drug timing is very, especially with some drugs like antibiotics, antimalarial drugs, etc. To achieve cure and prevent resistance, some drugs must be given on empty stomach, that is anti-tuberculosis drugs, and some after meals, that is NSAIDs. These must be noted and adhered to. The interval of the administration of drugs should also be adhered to, because it is important for many drugs that the blood concentration is not allowed to fall below a given level, and for others 2 successive doses closer than the prescribed might increase blood concentration to a dangerous level and can harm the blood. So this is called the, steady state, when the absorption and elimination remains constant, that I have told you already in therapeutic drug monitoring. Now the right dose, 4th one. This becomes very important when medications at hand or in larger volume are shrunk than the prescribed order given, or when the unit of measurement in the order is different from that supplied from the pharmacy. Careful and correct calculation is important to prevent over or underdosage. So we have to have a right dose, 500 mg, 250 mg, 6 mg, 10 mg, and what according to the body weight and according to the prescription. Now right route. An acceptable medication order must specify the route of medication. If this is unclear, the prescriber should be contacted, that is doctor himself, to clarify or specify it. The nurse should never decide on a route without consulting the prescriber. There are some drugs which have got so many routes, like oral route can be he can be IM, but it should be written on the prescription slip. There are some drugs which cannot be taken by the oral, like we have the gentamicin, all the aminoglycosides. Like right to information on drug client education. The patient has the right to know the drug she is taking, desired and adverse effects, and all there is to know about the medication. The chart on patient's right meet is clear. So we have to make the information to the client, to the patient, that you are going to give this drug and this is a reaction or whatever you have to take at this time, and we have to inform the patient. That's very good. And then right to refuse medication. He can refuse also. The patient has the right to refuse any medication. However, the nurse is obliged to explain to patients why the drug is prescribed and the consequence of refusing medication. So here, there should be consequence, you have to explain. The right assessment. Some medication require specific assessment before their administration. That is checking of the vital signs before a medication like digoxin is administered. The pulse must be checked. Some medication orders may contain specific assessment to be done prior to the medication. So right documentation. After all, you have to document what you have written and what you have given. Documentation should be done after medication and not before. So every patient is an experiment. Every patient is an observation. Once you give the drug, you have to document it. Documentation is very important. So right evaluation, conduct assessment to ascertain drug action, both desired and side effects. So whatever you have given the drug, you have to see its effect, you have to see its side effect, you have to see its therapeutic effect or diagnostic effect or prophylactic effect. So medication order is very important. The drug order written by the physician should have 7 essential parts for the administration of drug safely. We should have a patient's full name, we should have date and time, we should have drug name, we should have dosage, we should have a route of administration, time and frequency of administration, signature of the patient. These are the this is called the medication order. Then types of the medication orders, we have 4 types of the medication orders. Like stat order. A stat order indicates that the medication is to be given immediately and only once, that is morphine sulfate, 10 milligrams IV stat. So it is a stat order. Another is single order. The single order or one-time order indicates that the medication is to be given once at a specified time, that is a second 100 milligram at that time. So single order. Then we have standing order. Standing order is written carried out under specific circumstances, that is amoxicillin twice daily, 2 days. Then there is PRN order. PRN order is a Latin term that stands for pro re nata, which means as the thing is needed. A PRN order or a needed order permits the nurse to give a medication when the client requires. That is Ampogel, that is 15 ml PRN. So whatever the drug is given 15 ml. So you have to give, as per the order. Now terminologies and the abbreviation used in prescription. So you have a stat. You have stat order. You have a stat order. You have abbreviations. You have meaning. Suppose stat order. I have already told you. Stat order refers to the medication that is needed immediately and is to be given only once. So stat order also used often associated with emergency medication that are needed for life-threatening situations. Comes from the Latin order statum, meaning immediately, should be administered within 5 minutes or less receiving the written order. Then we have the ASAP order, not as urgent as stat. As soon as possible, should be available for administration to the patient within 30 minutes of the written order. Then single order for a drug that is to be given only once and at specified time, such as the proprietor order. Then PRN order, I have already Latin pro re nata, administered as required by the patient's condition. The nurse makes the judgment based on patient assessment as to when such a medication is to be administered. Now we have routine orders. These are, routine orders are not written as stat, as now and PRN. These are usually carried out within 2 hours of the time the order is written by the physician. So then we have standing order, written as advance of situation that is to be carried out under specified circumstances. Example set of operative PRN prescription that are written in all patients who have undergone a specified surgical procedure. Tylenol elixir, that is Tylenol 325 milligram PO every 6 hours PRN more throat, sore throat. So then standing order. So these orders, suppose we have now AC before meals, AM morning, BID twice a day, CAP means capsule, so GTT means drops, HR hours, I means intramuscular, IV means intravenous, NO means number, PC means after meals, after eating, PO means per os or by mouth, PM means afternoon, PRN means when needed, necessary, that I have already told you is the Greek word. Now QID means 4 times, Q2H, Q4H, Q6H, Q8H, Q12H every hour. That means every 2 hours, every 4 hours, every 6 hours, every 8 hours, you have to write this. And RX means take. Stat means immediately at once. TID means 3 times a day. Ab lib means as desired, as directed. Tab means tablet. Okay. So drug forms. Medications are available in a variety of forms. The form of the medication determines its route of administration. It's the form. It needs about the biopharmaceutics. What is the compatibility? Is it IV route? It is oral route. So you have to drug forms, as drug forms directs which route it is. So we have drug forms can be 3 types: solid, that is tablet, capsule; liquid, that is syrup, eye drops; semi-solid, that is ointment, lotion. Now tablet is the powder medication compressed into the hard disc or cylinder like this. Now we have capsule. Capsule medication covers in gelatin, I would say shell. Gel or jelly, a clear or translucent semi-solid that liquefies when applied to the skin. So this is the jelly. Now we have lozenge. Lozenge, a flat round preparation that dissolves and releases the drug when held in the mouth. So this is lozenge, like we have scripsum. Lotion, drug particles in a solution for topical use. Ointment, semi-solid preparation containing a drug to be applied externally. Then we have powder. Powder means a single or mixture of the finely ground drugs like this. Solution, a drug dissolved in another substance, that is the vehicle with the solvent. Suspension, finely divided, undissolved particles in a liquid medium should be taken before this use. Then we have a syrup, medication combined in a water and sugar solution. Suppository, through the rectum, and easily melted medication preparation in a firm base such as a gelatin that is inserted into the body, or rectum or vagina or urethra. It is to be inserted on this place and it gets dissolved there. The transdermal patch, unit dose of the medication applied directly to skin for diffusion through skin and absorption into the bloodstream. Like we have transdermal, we have GTN, glycerol trinitrate, we have scopolamine. So you have to remember these things. The routes of administration now, this is the main topic. Different routes of administration, we have oral, parenteral, topical and inhalational. Now, oral route. Oral route, it is medication are given by mouth, sublingual administration. Some medications are readily absorbed when placed under the tongue or to dissolve. So it is like the buccal administration of a medication by placing in the mouth against the mucous membrane of the cheek until it dissolves. So this is there is a difference between sublingual and buccal. Then we have parenteral. Parenteral administration involves injecting a medication into body tissues, and it needs a needle, it needs the expertise. The following are the 4 major sites of injection: intradermal injection into the dermis, just under the epidermis; subcutaneous SC injection into the tissues just below the dermis of the skin; intramuscular injection into the muscle; intravenous injection into the veins. So you have to know these things. Then you see this is the intramuscular, directly it goes the muscles. Then you have subcutaneous, it goes the subcutaneous tissue. It is epidermis and dermis, below the dermis. And then intravenous, there's a vein and it goes through the vein. And intradermal, it is intradermal. It is not like in the subcutaneous nor in the muscle. So intramuscular is directly you can have like this 90 degree, subcutaneous have 60 degree or 45 degree, intravenous you can have 30 degree and 20 degree intradermal. You have to know the degrees of that where you can keep. So you have to learn it practically also, and you have to make the practical notebook, and you have to depict these positions with your handwritings on the notebooks also. Now, some of medications are administered into body cavities. These additional routes include epidural, intrathecal, intraosseous, intraperitoneal, intrapleural, intraarterial, as the name suggests. Now the epidural medications are administered in the epidural space. This is the epidural space. You see. Intrathecal, you have to have an anatomic position where is the epidural. Intrathecal administration of a medication in the subarachnoid space or one of the ventricles of the brain. So it is the anti-cancer drugs we like in this route. Then we have intraosseous administration of the medication directly in the bone. It should be expertized. It should be done by the expert doctor. Intraperitoneal is okay, medication administered in the peritoneal cavity. Intrapleural administration of the medication directly in the pleural space. Intraarterial medications are administered directly in the arteries. So this is also about the anti-cancer drugs. So we can intraarterial we give in some in an emergency case. Now topical route. Topical route medication applied to skin mucous membrane, that's eye, ears, nose, mouth, vagina, urethra, rectum. These are the topical. Because we don't need to give the IV or oral for these routes, because the eye is the best chamber where you can locally give the drug. Ears also, eustachian tube. Nose also nasal. Mouth also, you can have a lozenge and you can have a gargles. And vagina is also local route. Urethra and rectum. Then you have inhalational route. Administer inhalation medication through the nasal and oral passage of the endotracheal or tracheostomy tubes. So this is also the inhalation which you like, just depending upon the position of the patient. Like if it is a child, if it is an elderly, if it is a geriatric, if it is a, I would say subconscious, unconscious. So what type of inhalation you have? Broad classification that if you classify the drugs, you should know about this. A drug must be classified by the chemical type of the active ingredient or the way it is used to treat a particular condition. That is analgesic to reduce pain, antipyretic to reduce fever, antibiotic to treat bacterial infection, antiviral to treat virus, antihypertensive to treat hypertension, antidiabetic to treat diabetes. So you should know these classifications once you administer drugs. So types of medication, we have therapeutic effects, we have side effects, adverse effects, we have toxic effects, we have allergic reactions, we have idiosyncratic. So while giving the drug, these things are very important. These are obvious reasons if there is will happen something. So you should know what is therapeutic effect, what is side effect, what is adverse effect, what is toxic effect, what is allergic effect, what is idiosyncratic effect. So therapeutic effect. The therapeutic effect is the expected or the predicted physiological response that a medication causes. That is the paracetamol, it will reduce the pain, fever or inflammation. Side effects, adverse effects, every medication causes some of harm. It is not a medication is for advantage, it is also disadvantage. It is a harm. And side effects are predictable and often unavoidable secondary effects produced at a usual therapeutic dose. There is nausea, loss of appetite, stomach pain. So these are the side effects. Adverse effects are unpredictable, undesirable, unpredictable, severe response to medication, and it is not dose. Small dose also can occur. So, but toxic effects develop after prolonged intake of the medication. It is due to the dose, due to the concentration, when the medication accumulates in the blood because of the impaired metabolism. There is liver damage or kidney damage. Allergic reaction, we have unpredictable immunological response to medication. That is paracetamol produces the rash or swelling as allergic, reaction. Then we have idiosyncratic reaction. A patient overreacts or underreacts to a medication or has a reaction different from normal. For example, a child who received Benadryl becomes extremely agitated or excited instead of drowsiness. So in children, we cannot give Benadryl, we cannot do antihistamine because there is an excitation reaction which takes place. Now we have systems of drug measurement. We know how we measure the drug. Different systems available are matrix system, household system, apothecary system and solutions. Now we have matrix system. In this system, metric units are used, that is the milligram, gram, milliliter and liter. Household system, we have household measures including drops, teaspoons, tablespoons or cups or measures medications. Their disadvantage is their inaccuracy. Household utensils such as teaspoons or cups vary in size. So this is all household. And then we have, I would say, metric system, household system. Like 1 ml is equal to 15 drops. 5 ml is equal to 1 teaspoon. 15 ml means 1 tablespoon. So there is a difference between teaspoons and tablespoons. 5 ml is a teaspoon and 15 ml is the tablespoon. Then we have apothecary. It is older system. It is not nowadays need, but you should know this. Basic unit of the weight is the apothecary system in the gram, GRAI, and the basic unit of the volume is the minimum, MINIM. The other units of the weight are the gram, the ounce, and the pound. The units of the volume are the fluid gram, the fluid ounce, the pint, the quart, and the gallon. It was in old. It is not nowadays used. Now we have metric system, we have apothecary system. 1 milligram 1 by 60 grams. 60 milligram we have, I would say, 1 gram. So these are not to be used, but you go through this and what is the metric system, apothecary system. It is not nowadays used. Solution. A solution is a given mass of solid substance dissolved in a known volume of fluid, or given a volume of liquid dissolved in a known volume of another fluid. For example, 10% solution is 10 gram of solid dissolved in 100 ml of solution. So you know 10%, 9%, 8%, you should know these things. Then we have converting measurements. We can convert this. Conversion within one system. Conversion between system. Dosage calculation. That is another class. So conversion with one system, we can have 1000 milligrams is 1 gram, 350 milligrams is 0.35 gram. So this is the conversion table. Now we have this is convert measurements from one system to another system. The nerves should be familiar with the equivalent values of all the systems. Now this is the 1 ml, 15 I will say apothecary and the household. How you can have this, I will say, 3 systems. Now dosage calculation methods used to calculate dosage include the ratio and the proportion method, the formula method, the dimension analysis method. Now we have ratio method. Suppose we have to make the 1:2, 4:8. It is also same. So we have to example 1:2, 4:8. So